Adrian. I think I've seen him in the hallway.
Yeah, it's Edmund. It's Edmund. I don't want to. I mean, like, it's the person that I thought was one of the other bots. Or
To me, books are just words. That's all they are. There's words written by people, and the Bible is no different than any other book, in my opinion. So I don't really give it a lot of weight in terms of the claims it makes about the nature of humans or the nature of my belief.
Yeah, and I'm quite aware of that.
Yeah,
I'm quite aware of that. All right. I was just making the point that since it does say that, right, and I understand what it's saying explicitly, I believe that. Yeah,
okay.
I do believe that.
Okay.
So which would mean, if that is true, it would necessarily be the case that, and maybe this would be more applicable to positive atheists. You might be able to make that case that, someone who is flat out denying the existence of God, or actually even denying that there's evidence for there being the existence of a supreme being who's created all things, and they believe they have no substantial knowledge to that or reason to accept that it is actually the case that they're deceiving themselves. I have no, I'm just going to tell you up front, I do believe that, okay? You might say that's ridiculous. Okay, I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, I understand, but I could also substitute in there God with pink unicorns and ask you how you feel about it if I said that about you.
Yeah,
Take the word God out, put pink unicorns in, and that's how I feel about you. Like you have no good evidence that pink unicorns exist. You deny the existence of pink unicorns. Therefore, you believe in pink unicorns. That's really all it's doing.
And I understand. Yeah, I understand what you're saying completely, man. I do.
Yeah.
Right. That's why I'm saying I realize that has absolutely no merit to you.
Yeah.
I get that. I'm just letting you know up front. I'm not gonna try and hide that because it doesn't make any sense to you.
It just falls into the category of sort of like, I'll put this nicely, preaching to me, and I'm like, whatever, Yeah. I don't treat the Bible as any source of truth, so I think that's probably a major difference here.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if you did, then you'd have a completely different position. Yeah. But anyway, leaving off what we were talking about yesterday, okay? Because I was thinking about it a little bit more as you were talking about you don't really. It seemed maybe you were leaning more. Well, actually, you did say this. You said that when it comes to like logical principles or mathematical principles or even numbers, you think that they're merely descriptive and not actually, have some sort of fixed nature or even an ontology, maybe you could say, where they exist and there's an abstract reality that coincides with ours.
Like platonic ideals, basically.
Yeah, it could be platonic. I mean, that's one of the ways. I don't think, when it came to Plato and them, they kind of made that kind of like a finality, and it got kind of weird, with the whole thing with shapes and all that stuff. But anyway, so here's the thing, okay? And I was thinking about it. I think that when you make, when you posit, any proposition like, the laws of logic are only descriptive, or they're just descriptive, something like that. Or when you make that claim, you already understand that if that's the case, let's say that is true, and we really haven't got to your theory of truth yet, but if that's true, the only way that could actually be true is if it's not the case that the laws of logic are, not descriptive, right? So in other words, the negation would have to be false. Right? So you understand.
Okay, so the claim is the laws of logic are descriptive. The negation of it is the laws of logic are not descriptive.
Right. It's not the case that the laws of logic, or you could say it like that, right?
Okay.
It's not the case that the laws of logic are descriptive.
Okay.
Right? That would be a little bit more formal. But so you already understand that, which means that you are already inherently appealing to the law of excluded middle. You would have to be. Otherwise, that statement wouldn't make any sense, because that's one of the necessary conditions for a proposition to actually qualify. Right. It actually has to have a negation. You say that's a proposition and it doesn't have a negation, it doesn't actually have any real meaning then. That's just the way it works with propositional logic.
Okay,
So,
I'm following.
yeah. So I would say that you, at some level, actually would have to say that you know that's the case. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to make sense out of anything. That's what I would say, right? And since that you know that that's the case, or you understand that, it seems kind of like, well, you're saying that they're merely descriptive, but at the same time you realize that you have to appeal to logic for that to even be the case. Now, the question I think would be really interesting to ask you is how, and you might say it's just empirical, but how would you say they're merely descriptive when you actually have no evidence to support that they're merely descriptive? Why would you even take that position?
Because of the language we're using to describe them. It's like we're using these words, descriptive, blah, 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 in very specific ways. And the word descriptive fits the definition of how we talk about things like the laws of logic. It's not like it's a characteristic or anything like that. It's just the way we use language. Okay. Again, I think language is very fundamental. I think we talked about that a little bit. And we have to use language, right? We can't have this conversation silently. And so we're going to use words that some of which are descriptive and some of which are proscriptive. That's just the nature of language. And I think the laws of logic fit into the category of words that are descriptive. Do I have evidence for it? No, but I don't really need to either. It's kind of like, it doesn't change anything. It doesn't change any of the arguments that use those laws of logic. So it's kind of in my mind like arguing about, I don't know, free will. My bottom line is I don't care. It's an irrelevant topic to me. So I kind of feel that way about this a little bit. I'm not saying that to put you down, but it's kind of like, look, the words we use describe things, and in different ways, and that's what we're doing here.
Let me just say this real quick. Okay? So let's say you have a big rock in front of you, whatever, and that rock actually exists, right? And you have a concept of the rock. Okay, well, your concept is not actually the rock, and your concept does not actually completely encapsulate everything about the rock, but you have let's say a pretty accurate concept of the rock, okay? And then you use the word rock, right? You're using that, you're kind of slapping the label on your...
Forgive me for my inability to... it's just so... This is such a foreign concept to me. And I'm kind of glad it is.
Chris, what's the scripture that says Jesus is going to kill everyone?
That's Revelation 20.
Book of Revelation by John, a Gnostic text, not to be taken literally, of course. It's a metaphor.
It's not a Gnostic text, nor is it a metaphor. My goodness.
I only have limited time. I suppose no one wants to keep this going, Chris?
No.
Okay, we'll do some final
Yeah,
thoughts.
it's okay. It's okay. I give up.
Well, go ahead and say the last thing you wanted to say if there was one. Steven.
I'm glad that Christians are living in they're doing actions in relation to their values. I don't know what to say, but I'm glad I have a better perspective of what Christians believe.
Sure. Well, I'll help you out on the last thing though. So Exodus 25:6, maybe what you're thinking, it says, "You shall not bow down to them or serve them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting iniquity of the fathers on the children to the third and the fourth generations of those who hate me, but showing steadfast love to thousands who love me and keep my commandments." And then this is reiterated in Exodus 34, Numbers 14, Deuteronomy 5. But this is showing a pattern that it's not like God is like forcing sin upon sin and judgment, punishment. It's basically saying, like, this is how I believe, my opinion, we get things like hereditary conditions like alcoholism. How if your father and his father was alcoholic, you are predisposed to have potentially more problems with alcohol. So it's not like sins and punishment from God are visited down. It's showing the natural consequences for things like that. So if you turn away from God, it's like, if your grandfather is an atheist, your dad's an atheist, then the chances of you being an atheist, except for the grace of God, is higher. So if you're raising them against the Lord or against His commandments, or you're doing these sins repeatedly and habitually, the chances of these things being passed down to your kid through genetics, osmosis, just living around you, are higher. And then, like Chris said, in Ezekiel, it talks about clarifying, goes the other way for actual sin. And it says, "Yet you say, why should not the son suffer for the iniquity of the father? When the son has done what is just and right, and has been careful to observe all my statutes, he shall surely live. The soul who sins shall die." So if you're talking about the father who sinned, they'll die. "The son shall not suffer the iniquity of the father, nor the father suffer the iniquity for the son. The righteousness of the righteous shall be upon himself, and the wickedness of the wicked shall be upon himself." And again, this isn't like Christians trying to cherry pick or something. If you just read, like I would encourage everyone to do, from the beginning of the Bible to the end of the Bible, you'll see this all explained just as if you were reading a book. Chris?
Yeah.
Wait, is it a book?
Yes.
Who published it?
I mean, yeah, if we're going to go technical, books, it's actually a collection of books. No one's having that conversation. If you just start with Genesis and read it as if it were a book, just start in the beginning and read to the end, and it will make sense.
I'm being facetious, but I really don't think the book of Revelation says that Christ is going to come back and murder everyone and only save the elect as a fundamental tenet of Christianity. I got to strongly disagree with Chris's analysis of the book of Revelation.
Well,
what's the chapter and verse? May as well just read it.
So let's talk about the end of the world and the great white throne judgment.
Revelation 20?
It's going to be Revelation 20. Let's see.
Great white throne. Boy, that sounds racist.
Get in line.
It must be a metaphor. It must be a metaphor.
So Stephen is going to call God racist first, and depending on what happens to him, you may or may not decide to also call God racist one day. So, watch what happens to Stephen, and then decide if you want to play that card. Hopefully, Stephen and you and everyone will repent and believe the gospel and don't want to have to worry about that. Did you find it?
Yeah, it's Revelation 20, verse 9. "They came upon the broad plain of the earth and surrounded the camp of the saints and the beloved city, and fire came down from heaven and devoured them. Then the devil who deceived them was thrown in the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are also, and they will be tormented day and night forever and ever. Then I saw a great white throne and him who sits upon it." This is Revelation, the beginning of Revelation, this is Revelation 20:11. He said, "Him who sits upon it, from whose presence earth and heaven fled away, and no place was found for them. And then I saw the dead, the great and small, standing before the throne, and the books were opened, and another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged from these things which were written on the books according to their deeds. And the sea gave up the dead which was in it, and death and Hades gave up the dead which were in them, and they were judged, every one of them according to their deeds. And death and Hades were thrown into the lake of fire. This is the second death, the lake of fire. And if anyone's name was not found written in the book of life, he was thrown into the lake of fire. So there you go. That is Jesus literally taking everyone out and judging everyone.
So, in short, do not be those people. Repent, believe the gospel, ask Jesus for eternal life, and you will receive it.
Well, geez, what about my Aunt Nancy? She says that Jesus is just a myth. Is she going to be cast into an eternal hellfire and be destroyed eternally, atomized in a lake of fire?
Yes.
Well, you can answer that for us.
Well, she does drink and swear a lot, so maybe she deserves it.
Hey, Random, what's up?
Well, she does drink and swear a lot.
Morning.
So maybe she deserves it.
Have anything to say before I run?
Yeah, is Steven gone?
Yeah, I mean, I guess reading the Bible is what it took to make him.
guy, man. The Mushroom Kingdom guy.
I mean, when you just started reading the Bible, he took off.
Well, that's unfortunate. I had a message for him, but I don't know if he saw it.
We can answer as if we were him. What was your question?
No, I'm just saying, part of the process, I was going to say, part of the process that is presumed to be the correct way of interpreting the Bible is assuming univocality. And some people miss that. They don't get that.
You're going to need to break down your fancy philosophical terms for the rest of the audience, my friend.
Sure, it's kind of that same process of harmonization. It's kind of the subtle undercurrent of saying that it harmonizes or harmonizing the scripture in case it has a seeming contradiction is kind of an underlying current of assuming that it is meant to be all one. Like univocality is like from one voice.
I thought you were going to say something about the inauguration.
Oh, I know pretty much nothing about it.
Oh, well, Trump is everyone's president.
That I am aware of.
Fantastic. Good.
Everyone, and just like the world, just everyone's president.
I mean, that's kind of true as well. I mean, look,
All in good time.
the great thing for world peace is that Trump is elected president. China is going to stop rattling their sabers. They're afraid of Trump. I think that they have scrapped their plans to invade Taiwan. They know that Trump will send several carrier groups to annihilate their invasion force. I'm pretty certain that,
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're talking an awful lot about linguistics, or words, and there was something I read about, in the Bible. It's like in the beginning was the Word created this, the Word was eternal, the Word. So to me, it seems like the Spirit of God or the intelligence or wisdom of God is embedded in the words, and if you can't accept that, or you don't like that concept, I mean, I just don't see how a non-believer is ever going to agree with a theist who believes the words. But can't you just see that they're metaphors or symbols? I
absolutely can, but they don't always do that either.
No, I know they're very literal. Everything is literal. I just was talking to Chris and Ask a Christian, and he says that in the Book of Revelation, Christ is going to come back and murder and kill all the non-believers, and it's in the Book of Revelation. And I'm like, you can't see that as being a metaphor for awakening or casting away bad thoughts, and burning them up. And I just don't understand why you have to take it so literally and not have any mystic type of association. So, if you're a theist, you're even worse because you.
You know my favorite thing about Revelations? This is the funny story. It was written by John, and it was written on a Greek island. the island of Patmos. And guess what grows on Patmos?
Cannabis or shrooms?
Shrooms. And I'm like, now Revelations make sense.
Well, Moses spoke to a burning bush, which they believe is like an
Yeah.
acacia bush, which supposedly has DMT. But if you want to take a trip, all you need is a glass of red wine and a joint or a little bit of cannabis in a bowl. And if you read the scriptures, it'll be like a whole new revelatory experience for you, because there's like a disassociated state, which your personality, which is your hyper conditioning from beginning, is kind of let go, and you become the word. So that's my point, is if you're an atheist and you've never experimented with psychedelic chemicals and revelation or scriptural books or sacred text writings, you see there's so much intelligence in it that it's helpful for your life.
But what if I have, Adrian?
That's fine, but the point is, if you don't think
I've done my share of hallucinogenics and tripping over Aleister Crowley and tripping over, Baudelaire and
and what did you gain from the experiences? You had fun, right?
I had fun, but when you come down off of it, it doesn't remain revelatory. It remains like when you wake up from a dream. It's like I had a dream that I had sex with Scarlett Johansson.
Well, the thing is, look at the inauguration last night. It's replete. There's so many symbols. There's so many symbols that you can see that they're pulling. So from a marketing perspective, if you have the wisdom and the knowledge, you're a much more effective communicator, because you have things to say.
All I needed to see was Elon Musk's Nazi salute. That's enough for me.
Well, even that in itself is an occult symbolic reference to drawing down, or a hermetic reference. So if you know the symbols, you know the references, the analogs or the abstracts, and I think your life is much fuller with it than without it, in my opinion.
I would say understanding symbolism, I think you've heard me say I was a literature major. I studied poetry. I also was married to a Jungian analyst for 20 years. So, I get that, right? I get archetypal psychology. I get, the symbolism of dreams and all that stuff. We could talk about that for hours, I'm sure. Because I'm an unlikely atheist in that regard, as I think that dreams are very powerful, but for specific reasons. But I don't equate that to power. I equate it to, I don't think let's call it powers that be in Washington are doing anything of that on an archetypal level. I just think they like power and they like the symbols of power and they're just trying to co-opt them. But I don't think there's anything like, I think someone mentioned the Illuminati. I think that's just garbage. So I don't know.
I read. Do you know who Dr. Paul Foster Case is?
No.
He's an occultist from Los Angeles from the 20s and 30s.
Is he related to what's his name, Edgar Cayce?
I don't know Edgar Cayce, but
does he spell it C-A-Y-C-E?
No,
C-A-S-E.
C-A-S-E.
was a famous occultist from the 30s, I think.
No, C-A-S-E. America was exploding with occultism, in the early 1900s.
I think it still does. Like, my kids went to a Waldorf school, and if you haven't experienced the occult nonsense of Rudolf Steiner, you haven't lived.
Yeah, I bought many Rudolf Steiner books because I was like, I really wanted to know what the differences then versus now in our education and curriculum. But
it's such garbage.
So wait, you were married?
Awful reading.
I gotta agree.
My first wife was a Waldorf teacher. I went from a Waldorf teacher to a Jungian analyst, so I guess I never learned.
But what was
the Waldorf stuff? Was just such a pile of bad philosophy. It was ridiculous. Hey, I have to jump off into a retro meeting really quick for work, but I'll be back. And thanks for coming back in and chatting. I felt like we got sort of preempted by someone last time, so it was good that we got a chance to talk.
Okay, have a great day. God bless.
You too. Take care. Yep. Catch y'all later.
she didn't have the smell, but she was a girl that like you knew. I honestly was like, she needs to go to the doctor because the way she would be smelling was not.
What about it?
I ain't feel nothing about it, bro. Just to be honest.
Oh,
It's just crazy.
Why would you say the title's crazy and then you don't?
It's crazy. I don't care what people do in their own life. You know, I'm Christian, so I don't care what people do in their life. But you know, they know it's against God. You know, I'm not gonna go tell somebody, you know, well, that's an abomination of God knows, or you're going to hell. But they should know.
Are you a
That's a good
coon?
title. That's why I say it's crazy.
Bro, that title, no, I gotta agree with that. That title, sorry, I did not mean to say that. I gotta agree with that, man. That title is fucking crazy.
But that's the truth, though.
I'm not debating.
But a coon is not a tran, and a tran is not a coon. They're not in the same boat.
That's true.
But the thing is, the people that are mad at Donald Trump presidency are coons and trans. That's why there's an ant.
Woohoo!
As
A coonie tranny.
As a Virginian, those are not my coons. I'm a different type.
I'm against Trump, but I'm not. That ain't got shit to do with that.
I know that.
Adrian, what is a coonie tranny?
The problem is not coons and trans. The problem is anger, which is getting mad. That's a psychological state of being in a state of disequilibrium and being upset about everything because you're still upset about who you are, which is a coon or a trans.
That made no type of sense.
Can you be a combination? Can you be a coon tranny?
Technically, coons are trans, but not every trans is a coon.
You want to call Obama a coon trend? I can see the logic.
On trans. That was a shot.
Hey, y'all bring Uncle, ask Uncle that question. Uncle tell you some real stuff right there.
What?
Uncle in the goo.
Oh, that's a good title, y'all. Who made this title? Somebody, a smart person, y'all.
Hey, tell me what you think about the title, bro. Tell me what you think about it.
Man, somebody, no, bro. Hold up.
Applaud that man. Applaud that man.
I know, for real, man. That's a party, y'all. Give him a round of applause. Give him a round of applause. Man, who this is? Who this is got this title, bro? The person at the top left.
I'm right here with my Aisha brother.
Oh, I see Donald Trump up there. I see the big dog up there. I see the first black president up there. I see that nigga looked out for us niggas, boy. I swear that nigga stood up for us niggas, y'all. Man, y'all black women, some black women, y'all in trouble. Y'all in trouble. Man.
If Kamala was doing her inauguration, she would have lectured all you fucking coons.
Man, who? Boy, man, fuck with y'all. Hold up, say it again. Hold up, let me get me a seat. Man, that woman would have made, bro. All us niggas should have just walked to penitentiary. Walk to jail, y'all.
That's where she sent you all when she was Attorney General.
She already did it. Hey, you remember in California when that was, what was that 16, y'all? When she heard the evidence against the black guys, y'all.
Wait. Was that 16-year-old that was the grandson of the U.S. General? That guy?
I can't remember. I can't. It's a while ago.
Hey, did Kamala start up the fires in California? I don't know.
You remember?
I don't know.
No, look, man. You think, y'all?
I'm just joking.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna blame it on. Yeah, that bitch did. Yeah, she did. Yeah. We put it on her. Yeah, we're gonna bring that up later. Look, y'all, you remember she had all the evidence against black men up in Cali for marijuana. Could have let that man do wait until, but if my mama show what, 10 years of his life, man. In prison. Had no evidence. She overlooked that boy. Overlooked the black boys.
Her and her husband were invested in marijuana dispensaries. She's a fucking hypocrite, a liar, a fraud, a traitor.
Oh, which state you from, bro?
Oh, Baton Rouge, I'm Louisiana. Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Louisiana, boy? Okay, hey. What's good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You right, well, you up there about inauguration.
What you think about that black guy who ran over all them people on Bourbon Street.
You say VA, like Virginia, right? Yeah.
That motherfucking coon killed 15 people on Bourbon Street.
To Richmond years ago. I went to that club DC Live. I used to go to that club DC Live years ago, right around there by the White House.
Oh, yeah.
Near the Rose Bar?
Yeah, I don't know if it's still up there or not. First club. Oh, okay, yeah. The last time I went, I think it was like 2003, maybe 2002. That's the first club I know had an elevator in that bitch. Say, Snoop Dogg was in line, so the lines would be from here. The lines would be miles around the building. So they let Snoop Dogg there. I just walked down the broad. I said, I'm with them. I wasn't with them niggas. I wasn't with them niggas. I'm with them. Shit.
Security for you.
Man, what? Man, shit. And I hit the elevator. Swear, the most beautiful man. The first time I ever thought about, I didn't know about Ethiopian women. Beautiful women up there, man. I didn't know that. You know, you look on TV, you think Ethiopia like skinny, you know, man.
Natural and unvaccinated.
Yeah, right. But I didn't know. That's how ignorant I was, though. I didn't know. I was looking at it was on TV. Man, the most beautiful people. I say, God damn, bro. I'm talking about, man. But I stayed right across from the Pentagon in Richmond at the Holiday Inn.
Ain't that where they took those cameras from the 9/11 with that fake ass plane?
Right from the Pentagon. That hotel. Yeah, right from the Pentagon.
They took the cameras from that Holiday Inn when the fake ass plane, it was a goddamn Navy guided rocket, went into the motherfucking Pentagon.
Hey, no, Adrian, what did you say about was he a Republican?
Man, anyway, I love this title, bro. This gonna be a good title for Instagram. Man, I gotta screenshot this shit. But
hey, make sure you give Cliff that credit, man. Unbannable Negro.
Cliff? Who, Cliff? What Cliff is? Yeah, Cliff. Yeah, Cliff.
Top left. Unbannable Negro.
Yeah, I got it right here. Cliff ain't scared to talk his shit. Cliff say, only trainers and cleaners, man, that's all.
Yeah, that's why we all talk shit here, man. That's all, you know what I'm saying? It's all love, man. You know.
No, but see, people, let me tell you something. People emotional, dog. See, you can't get emotional with people saying, you can't argue politics and religion. We're not arguing it. Can we go with the facts and logic of it? Who would be best for the economy, y'all? Let's be honest.
But we're going to see.
No, I'm saying, the president.
That's why they chose Trump, because he can sell it. She could never have sold it.
Oh, good, my bad. Hey, but he proved himself one time with that.
I'll tell you, a black woman ain't good for the economy.
Ain't not, man. They not, y'all. Women in general, yeah.
Speaking of women, hey, Candace, how you doing, Candace?
Candace.
And the thing is,
hey, Candace, emotional.
The problem is, it's not that, we don't support women or black women. It's just that, me personally, I just believe that.
How you feel about it, Candace? What about that?
Hold on.
Okay, my bad.
I believe just as a woman, I don't think you deserve 100% of the same rights that men have, because women don't run with logic. Women run with emotion. So if a man has 100% of the rights, I believe that women should only have about 63% of those rights. Because when it comes to decision-making skills, like honestly, it's been about 120 years. I think it's time to take the right back to vote from women. Women shouldn't have really the opportunity to vote. As we've seen time and time again, women don't make bad decisions to vote. So, and not only that, like, who the fuck said we can't beat on women anymore? Like,
but women don't even vote because they're lazy. The men, they got more testosterone to get to that ballot box.
Hold up, who next? My bad. Who next?
No, his last point is that who said what's wrong with beating on women?
Oh, yeah, okay.
What's the problem with beating on women? Like, when did that become?
I don't know about that shit.
Oh, well, I can say
Now beat on that labia and clitoris with your tongue. They gonna come.
He said it in another way, but I understand what he said. Because guess what? Women now, these days, right? Now, we ain't talking about the older grandma and mama them back in the days. These women jumping men face think they could beat a man up. They didn't let these fucking bitches, what they did, what y'all calling them fucking women who think they men, that they could be men.
Trans. Coons.
Man, you know who the first woman that gonna disrespect you, bro? What color she gonna be?
A black woman.
Bitch ass nigga. Slap the fuck out of her. She called us white daddy, 911. He hit me.
Yo, listen, kick this Umar motherfucking Abdul Rahim out the room calling me a troll. Motherfucker.
Hey, come on up, Umar, man. This is
Yeah, it's not your regular cup of tea, which is bullshitting about nothing, talking about Bitcoin.
They don't want to talk about no knowledge, huh? Hey, man, talk about some mess, you get a room full of people.
let me ask you, man. Everybody
Go ahead,
else
Mr.
is for, you know what I'm saying? Great
Wait, what's going on, Umar? What the hell?
I have a question for you. So did you buy any of that Trump meme coin? And if so, man, what are your thoughts on that?
No, I didn't buy it. Hey, I saw it. It came through my text message. Especially with the text, the text message on it. I didn't buy it though. I wish I would have got it, but I didn't.
I bought $10,000. I sold it 7 times 7x. I made $60,000.
For real?
I'm going to buy me a new Mercedes today. No, it's the truth. I saw it on my motherfucking Robinhood account. I was like, Trump coin? Oh, fuck yeah. $10,000. There you go, Trump. Boom. Trump getting $60,000. God bless that man.
Oh, you crazy. Hold up, bro. Hold up, y'all. No, y'all. Look. To be honest, bro. Trump is the first black president. Y'all know why I say that?
Go ahead.
In 16, y'all, he gave $10 million apiece, right? First of all, black folks ain't to vote for him, right? He gave $10 million apiece for 4 years to every HBCU school. Do anybody remember that? Oh, y'all?
I don't know that. No,
Okay. The HBCU school is what, y'all? Our black colleges, correct? Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. The first person he pardoned out of jail was who, y'all? Y'all remember that one?
Oh, shit. Who was it?
That black lady who did the drug trafficking had life in prison.
I forget.
You remember? You remember the lady who had the life in prison with drug trafficking? He the first person pardoned her.
Obama didn't do
You
that.
can look it up. Obama them ain't think about that lady. It was that pretty bitch Kim Kardashian and Donald Trump. The black women ain't much worry about her.
Oh, technically, did she break the law?
But she did break the law. Correct. Yeah, she broke the law, which is fair, but
you forgot that part.
But no, she didn't. No, I didn't. No, but I'm saying she was drug trafficking. I had to say that part. She was drug trafficking. She was in prison. So we know if you're in prison, you broke the law, correct? So we ain't got to go that far with it. But the woman did 30 years, nonviolent crime or whatever. How many? I don't know. I know a lot of y'all probably got friends was in the feds. They're at home right now. They're at home because of Trump, man. And what I mean by that, from the feds. First Act program.
That is true.
That's facts. That's true. That's true. Go ahead, buddy.
Even though Trump is the greatest president of all time, right?
Sure.
So can you please let us know what specifically the black people outside of the First Act, which is
well, I say,
recidivism.
Okay, the scholarship for the HBCU schools.
Well, the ones who
the scholarship for your. Go ahead, bud.
So outside of the First Act and HBCU, $20 million. What he be specifically for black people?
He gave every nigga a stimulus package. Stimulus money. Y'all niggas happy like a motherfucker.
Well, because of COVID, man, we had to get.
But no, it don't matter. He still had to sign. Come on, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't talk like a black woman now. He did it though. Well, it don't matter if it was COVID or whatever. He still had to sign it for the taxpayers right? You're right. I mean, come on, y'all. That talk like logical people, y'all. Everybody was looking for a stimulus. Everybody was looking for a
He wants something specified, black Americans. I'll give you one. So, in 2013, Obama comes into presidency.
Right,
You want to
correct.
know what he did to fuck up most Black Americans?
Yeah, gave all the rights to the punks in the LGBT community.
No, well, no, it wasn't
The homosexuals?
rights. No, it wasn't really rights.
He gave you free Obamacare.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a specific tax code that this man just threw out of nowhere in 2013 that pretty much fucks specifically Black Americans. You know what that tax code is called?
I'm lost with that one, but I'm into it. But
so if I remember,
what was it called, bro?
It's called the TC-03 type of code, and what it specifically does, as a starting for lower income person when you are creating a business, they require 65%.
Okay, who approved that? Obama?
Oh no, it's not. It wasn't that he approved it. It was just slammed into law.
Okay, it's not to okay.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, Obama, correct?
Yeah,
Obama, correct.
Okay. 2013 Obama.
13, okay.
Yeah,
16 Trump came. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, his name is TC-203.
I'm about to write that down.
And I'm like, what the? It was all over the news in the radio, and everyone was like, how this is going to negatively affect people in lower income areas that want to start a business because now the government is demanding, hey, we require 65% of your taxes related to your business. Yeah, it's like, wait, what? Who gets affected the most? Black Americans, because at 2013, were most Black Americans. As fuck. They were struggling real bad. 2016, what does Trump do? He doesn't reverse that. He just equalizes the economy by reducing the taxes so drastically, people can actually afford to make a business on the salary that they're getting.
Yo, I'm gonna look into that one.
Happy Trump Day, y'all.
Happy Trump Day,
I just want to remind everyone that Donald Trump yesterday said that from henceforth, January 20th will be known as Liberation Day. You are all liberated.
Hey, bro. Hey, y'all. What's so messed up? These illegals, they had to start rolling out at 12 o'clock, right? So, goddamn, yesterday was nigga day, right? Trump made these bitches run around out on Taco Tuesday. Taco Tuesday out of here. Ain't no Taco Tuesday today. Man, get y'all dumb ass back to Mexico. Y'all get the fuck out this bitch.
Hey, Moroni, come on.
If you know a Venezuelan from the Tren Arugana banging gang, make sure you call your local FBI agent and have their asses deported. Liberation henceforth.
And they get the fuck out to say, bro.
And then you take over the rackets. Don't let these Venezuelans control our drug rackets, okay?
Man, they signed that, for the illegals to come over here and live better than us, y'all. You know how many people, needed that help off our taxpayers' money?
So, let me ask you a question, right? So, who gonna do all the all the great work the lower level, the Mexicans were doing?
Robots.
We're gonna make robots to do
Can I? Nah, that was a good one.
I think that's like coming to Clown House. Because technically, when you jerk it, you're projecting in your mind, thinking about something, and people come here and they think they're thinking about something. But what they're really doing is just getting into a dopamine feedback loop and running their fucking mouth stuck about fucking nothing.
To get ourselves into that era.
And they say, you made my point.
You get paid
you made my
off
point.
the robot somehow. If you got the Sam's using
You got IQ. You're
for
stupid.
real. If you just got a guy that learn how to put a goddamn strap on the goddamn robot or something, come up with something. So, see, people gonna be left behind, man. The Republicans run the house, right? So, everything, say, but, man, they say, check this out, y'all though. Look.
No, that's called coming over
What I'm
the
saying,
border
what I mean,
illegally
the
and then
Republicans
raping victims
had a house,
as
you know,
they're
have
out of
everything
the
back
job
with it right
as
now. What
you're doing the fucking landscaping.
You got to get into the corporate world. Man, they put, okay, Trump built him a power team. The first, what? Elon Musk, I'm sorry.
Please don't scroll.
Mark Zuckerberg. What the other man name?
Please don't scroll. I'm just trying to be.
Shit. The Twitter man. Twitter.
Are you talking about
His name.
Elon Musk?
Elon Musk one. That's the Tesla. Zuckerberg, Facebook. And the Facebook, the other man, the other, what's his name is? We got Jeff Bezos. There you go. Thank you. Say the thank you. I know it. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, Jeff Bezos. Man, you know what kind of power team that is, G?
Yo, if you were watching the inauguration, they were all sitting in the front row.
Man, what?
It was Bezos, Sundar, Zuckerberg.
Oh, so Sundar the Google guy, right?
Yeah, big tech with the.
That big dog. You got the people, the money. Okay, they take their money out the economy. They'll fuck the economy up. He got all of them.
Those four men are pretty much a large amount.
That's right. Straight up.
So it's not even they'll fund the economy. America will go with it.
America will go with it. Same problem. But you gotta respect the power of it though, right?
No.
Why not? Why not?
That's not how you do it.
Well, no, wait. Go up, my bad, bro.
No, well, we know this.
No, I went to you. I went there, but I'm saying, okay, you a billionaire, right? You a billionaire. Well, I mean, you got the power, you got the money. So what's going to come with the money after that? It's the influence and the power, correct? So,
wait a minute.
Now you got Isaac and David right there. They ain't got much money as you, but they got money too. You know, they ain't talking about no capitalism. I said, man, what the fuck out? What you want to come up with? What plan y'all want, what y'all want to do to the fuck this world, they got to fuck the world up.
Well, I mean, they pretty much do. But what I was saying is, in capitalism, you don't respect someone that's richer.
No.
Once you take what they have. That's how we do it. Well, that's not capitalism, that's corporatism. They're in corporatism. Corporatism does not have respect. It is, I am coming for what you want and have. So, no, you don't respect their power. Take it.
But what's that? But if y'all three come together, it's power. You could control a lot.
There are ways.
But I know what I'm saying. In other words, they're gonna make it better and better.
Are they the new access of you?
They'll do access of me.
No, you said access of people.
No, you think that's evil? No, hell no, it's not evil.
David, why would this? You're not wrong with your sentiments, but unfortunately, it was going to go one of two ways. You're going to get communism or corporatism. That's it. We're getting corporatism. With corporatism comes one thing: consume or die. Straight up. Consume or die.
A lot of people don't like that because they feel
But we now have what everyone liked during our presidents. This is amazing. Everything's so affordable. I can buy so many things. Guess what? There are no more wars.
your words. You said attack.
The corporations have laws.
I am here with Barack, who said Obama is a really terrific guy. I haven't said that publicly, but he's a great guy.
Would you
And
want to
we never did a debate, so what do you think?
Would you want to see what the new world gonna be?
Why do you say that?
I know what the new world
Well, we're not gonna have a debate, but this is one thing I.
Add a teaspoon of this to a glass. As a YouTuber that's trying to get monetized, how did you come up with that song? You have these Italian.
Yes, it
That
does.
was foul.
No,
Listen,
that's
bro.
a mistake people make. They think it forces things apart.
Well,
It does. It's basically presents you with a choice. We have everything you need and want, or you can go to in the middle of the woods.
right.
Yeah.
So, but you wouldn't.
I'm sorry, you guys got me all confused here. Who the Tran and who the motherfucking coon?
How was I got what you said?
The phone, let's see. Kathy, would like to say something too? Please, by all means, phone in there, Kathy.
I swear I got what he said, but I'd rather be in the car. Cause see, okay, they just say like, I know you dreamed about it. I mean, if you want to have a business already, you sound you're a smart young man. That's why he cool.
Is it better to be a coon, or is it better to be a trans? Or is it better to be a trans coon or a coon trans?
I used to run and sell software on the people.
Yeah, okay. So you know about the corporate world then, correct? How happy you was when your business, I guess, I don't know if you sold your business or whatever. Anyway, it don't matter. How happy you was when that business rise at its peak?
I was miserable, actually.
Oh, come on. No, you might have was. I'm not saying no. I'm not for real.
I was miserable. I hated everything. I was angry at everything. I reacted violently towards anything that I didn't see trouble coming. Yeah, I was not. I had money.
No.
God damn.
Right.
Oh shit, I had money. I had.
Right. And you fucking software.
I had 72 stockholders, and I used them as a bank because I did not want to put my money in any bank. 72 stockholders. I had 5 servers, and these servers were
straight up. But you sold it? Or what?
Basically, I did sell it.
Yeah, because you somebody then, boy. You say I was at 5 servers. Somebody's at 5 servers. What you mean?
Servers the size of a lodge, and let me think, about 7 guns, and I just kept buying closing guns or bullets. It was just a ruthless cycle of, do I want to spend?
So what made you feel miserable? I guess what made that come along? If you had 5 servers, bro, and I believe them too. That's why I believe them.
I wasn't myself. I was literally.
Like what I'm saying.
Money and the influence and the control I had to basically draw me further into. Like I literally could see, wow, I am getting colder, more ruthless, more uncaring.
Because you felt powerful, correct? You felt powerful. I'm just saying that's what I was.
You felt Trump-like. That's what I'm talking about.
That's right. That's what I'm trying. He know what I'm trying to say. He know, but it's the same way. It's the same kind of metaphor or analogy. I mean, I'm sorry.
No. Trump is altruistic. I wasn't. Trump is like, I'm gonna make sure that the people have something for what they need to survive. My entire means of surviving with people is, you don't work for me, you can die.
But what's wrong with that though? Buddy? You ran yours more like Hitler.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about them Jews. I care about this. I care about you ran your shit like Hitler. So what's wrong with that? How would you feel miserable? You should have been the happiest man on earth.
I should have been, but I was like, bro.
Like he'll say, I fuck with you. They say, man, look, I don't give a fuck. What's happening on that across that fence?
Pretty much.
If you don't work for me, you die. Man, that's fuck,
pretty
man.
Much. That was my entire mentality.
Go ahead.
But the issue with it was, like I said, I was becoming more ruthless. I was becoming colder. At a certain point, I would literally make software knowing how dangerous it was. It wouldn't care if some group or whatever used it for terrorists. It was like, okay, I'm starting to deal with terrorists. Yeah, I was getting deep. After a while, I'm like,
Yo, my brothers and sisters, Starlink is about to shoot off a new rocket to outer space, man.
I was over the edge, I was over the edge, and to say that I was about to.
Hey, say this. Hey, watch him out. I ain't just fucking with the tape. Boy, you a gangster. Hey.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
LD is go for launch.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Liftoff of the Falcon 9. Go SpaceX, go Starlink. Vehicle is pitching downrange.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
I see. Scrolling just a particular person, or it's like scrolling that
splinter, white nationalist Nazi organization, and it's just intense.
Okay, is it a repeat or a copy of something else that came out a while back, or is it new, fresh on its own?
They say it's a true story, and I don't know if it's a remake or not.
Okay, so there was a true story that took place in the 70s that was made into a movie about school kids, a project that a teacher put together where his kids, his students, half of them were going to play prison guards and the other half were going to play inmates. Does it have something to do with that or no? thing is that you know what, these guys, these federal offices, whether it's president, vice president, senator, or House of Representatives, they're very well paid people, okay? And none of them need to have outside jobs. And to do public service, it's understood that there's a sacrifice because you're gaining something beyond money. And the fact is that nobody who's in federal office should have a second business, period. End of story. And there should, and you know what? Having a crypto coin is a business. It's a personal business. It should be allowed. He should not be able to have the Trump organization operational while he is in power. And no senator should have a business on the side for the same reason. And if they don't want to do it, then don't run for office. That's perfectly fine. There are enough people who are good, who are qualified, who don't have businesses or who are willing to close down their business to do it. That's the way it should be. It's a done deal. Anyway, go ahead. Was it Francine? Were you going to say something? Andre, are you here? I can't see you on my board.
I'm here, but Francine.
Yeah, go Francine and then Andrea. Go ahead,
I don't see how this trading in crypto isn't a national security risk.
Totally.
And I mean, I've been in crypto for 10 years or whatever.
Yeah.
Longer. And the whole goal of crypto was to be able to transfer money from country to country without having to go through the banking system.
It's literally called crypto.
Yes, exactly.
The prototype for this was his first administration when he didn't divest anything, where they did offer emoluments. And so the prototype worked through with crypto, and you now have a straight vein to corrupt influence.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was one of the major shifts that happened. That that's one of the quote unquote norms that had never really been crossed before. And he keeps on breaking on norms, and there are for him no norms and no guardrails. He's gotten rid of both. And that's what we need. The one thing we need in government are norms and guardrails. And we need to find a way to get them back if possible. And he needs to be punished. He needs to be what he did when he gave all of the January 6th insurrectionists pardons is criminal. This is changing history. And we can't let this stand the way that it stands. We can't. There's got to be some way.
So how do we do it?
This. I don't know. Maybe that's why we're here, to figure this out. We'll throw some ideas at the wall and see if anything sticks. Anyway, Andrea, go ahead. If you're here, I don't see you. I just think she gone already. Yeah, she's gone already. All right, so who was next? I think Andrew, at some point you unmiked. So Andrew, why don't you go?
Good morning, Ben.
Good morning.
Hope everyone's doing okay after yesterday.
So.
Yeah. I looked at a couple articles this morning. The one that kind of stuck out to me was this one that I did post on, just the lack of, vetting for security. He just wants to give everybody that he wants security clearance regardless of the actual protocols that are in place by the National Defense. They look at people's background, they look at their, marital status, whether or not they have some sexual improprieties, whether or not they have gambling, all these sorts of things that could compromise people when they have access to highly classified information. So that's a concern, of course. It kind of ties in with the other thing I mentioned yesterday about the pro cam things, or GoPro cameras. But and as far as we didn't get a 25% tariff, so we're okay there for a week. We're okay there till February 1st, apparently. But I think what really is kind of odd about this whole thing with the tariff tariffs against Canada is that, we already have a trade agreement, which, by imposing tariffs in the middle of an agreement is, just ridiculous. I mean, why would we even want to have an agreement with the United States anymore if that's the way that we can expect behavior to be? So, and obviously the agreement means nothing. So, but we'll see. I mean, I guess he's got some kind of thing coming out in April that will coalesce all his policies going forward. And I don't know how, or I don't know that there's anything in place to initiate these tariffs, but we'll see on February 1st, I suppose. But I think it's just a lot of I don't know. I mean, it's a fire hose, of stuff that came out of the guy yesterday. So it's hard to pick one or two or three or 10 or 20 things, when you got, 100 things to look at. And I think that's by design, obviously. Keeps people distracted and off their game. So anyway, it is really cold here today, and so I'm staying inside.
Okay.
I braved it and took the recycling out. I have to go get them afterwards, but that's about it.
Okay. Look, I love hearing about it because today's high is going to be 98. So
yeah. Well, our low today will be minus 30 degrees Celsius with without the wind chill. Or no, with the wind chill.
Yeah, probably it's time to light a fire and stay inside.
But I guess they're going to get snow down in some parishes in Louisiana, which is crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, and Trump's response to that is take us out of the Paris Agreement and eliminate all of
WHO. Let's not worry about pandemics anymore.
Exactly. No, I mean, they first of all, we must remember that everything that he's doing now is in Project 2025. So this idea that, that's what this was. He is implementing Project 2025. So we do know, we know the script. And he's doing it, and there's nobody stopping him. And I don't know what we can do to stop him. And I'm afraid that on the short term, some of the things might look like they work. In the medium and long term, I think it's a disaster, and I think that'll happen. But this is all about timing, and it's all about perception and being able to control the media to the point where he can control the negative. Because if inflation starts happening, he will either deny it or he'll blame it on the Democrats. So that's what we have to look forward to. Any of the things that he's doing that's damages, they are all ready for a response, and the responses are just pure lies. It's pure gaslighting. It doesn't matter. Yeah,
I'm going to court already. So this morning, in regards to people that are born in the United States and don't have citizenship, so that's being challenged in court. So I think that's the
birthright citizenship.
Yeah, that's a harbinger of things to come. I think a lot of this stuff will end up in the courts. How they handle it, well, that's a whole other story too.
Yeah, no, I have no doubt that the radical right majority in the Supreme Court will give him whatever he wants. They will find a way to rationalize, essentially neutralizing birthright citizenship. They will. They'll do it. They will also rationalize the limitations of doing another. I'm sure that one of the first things that will come up is that they're going to be able to say that when they said that there's no that you can't have more than two terms, they're going to say two terms it means 2 terms in a row. That's the first thing they're going to do, and then later on they'll change it to you're president for life. So that's absolute. That's what's happening. He is now going to be president for life if he gets away with it, and that's the way he's going to govern.
I also think it's interesting that he did not mention Ukraine yesterday. So
yeah,
it's supposed to end on.
That is interesting. Oh, they're right. He was supposed to end it yesterday. Right. Exactly. What happened with that? Well, one of the things that they're doing on MSNBC and some of the other podcasters and stuff, is they basically taken a picture of where unemployment is right now, where inflation is right now, the cost of gasoline right now, all of the identifiers that they've used, and compare them, 6 months from now, a year from now. Because they're right. I mean, 6 months or a year from now, he's not going to get anything better. He's only going to make stuff worse. But with that said, that doesn't mean that his people will believe that it's his fault. That's the whole thing, is that we're still always under the illusion or the understanding, the proper understanding, that people will believe facts and will believe what they see with their own eyes. And we are in a day and age where that doesn't matter anymore, because they don't. They don't vote for their own self-interest, and they believe every piece of shit that's handed to them, no matter what, without questioning it. I don't know. How do we fix that? Elle, how are we going to fix that?
Oh, Ben, I don't know. That was a lot. I've actually not looked at news this morning, which was really good, and I woke up about 10 minutes ago. I don't know how we're going to fix it. This is very overwhelming. I'm having trouble really absorbing what you just said, that you actually believe he's going to be president for life. I guess that's the one thing I haven't been willing to believe is possible, because that is the most hopeless scenario I can imagine.
Well, he's going to die.
Right. That is our strategy, actually. That was always what I said.
But he's going to die. But then there's JD. I mean, then there's the whole crew.
JD won't be able to do what Trump does. Like, I don't think JD can actually go to the Supreme Court and say, "Make me president for life." I don't think they would do it.
Yeah.
I know. This is something that's about Trump. Is the weirdest, strangest, bizarrest thing that's ever happened. And until he's gone, we're not normal. And we may not like what's normal, but normal will be a lot better than what's here now.
Yeah, I don't know, Ben. I woke up actually to a text message from Ira, who's in Las Vegas, my friend.
Yeah.
I talk about, and he has an e-commerce company, but his warehouse is in right here in Minneapolis, St. Paul. Just in like a sweat, because the person who's running his warehouse is this absolutely lovely man from Ukraine who he hired when, months ago, when there was a special program for Ukrainian, I guess, refugees, we need to call them right now. So I don't see them as part of the list right now, but that special program may be rescinded too. And he's very worried about him. He was a physicist in Ukraine, so now he's stocking this warehouse and trying to learn English and trying to take care of his kid and his wife. So it's a lot. I don't know. I saw this text. I haven't even responded to it. So I'm just looking through Ruth's list here. Thanks, Ruth, for the links to get my morning update on the executive orders. But it's pretty awful list so far. I don't know what we're going to do, Ben. We're going to keep our friends and neighbors as safe.
You rescinded the prescription drug negotiation.
Yeah, I just saw that on the list. But on the immigration or the deportation issue, I mean, all I come up with is, as I said, trying to keep our friends and neighbors as safe as we can. I mean, that's the first thing that comes to mind. I think I've mentioned this here before, but one of our synagogues had a family who they kept safe for, I think, 3 years from El Salvador. It was unbelievable. I mean, they just made downstairs at the synagogue their home and kept them there, and the whole community brought food and brought clothes and kept them safe. I guess we keep each other safe. That's my first.
Yeah, thanks, Al. That is a good point. Okay, let's see. I'm looking at my list here. We've got Cindy and Sue and Rick, who I want to get to in Perusing. And actually, we haven't talked to either David or Scott yet. So let's go to Sue, and then Cindy, and then Rick, and then we'll go up and get the rest of you. So hold tight. And if any of the regulars want to come up, put your hand up. I've been inviting some of you up. If you don't want to come up, just ignore it. But go ahead, Sue.
Good morning.
Tell us what you think, and also give us an LA report.
Well, so I, like everybody else, tried to avoid yesterday as much as I could. And I spent the day with my son, and that was exhausting and wonderful. And we honored Martin Luther King. So, mission accomplished on that end. When I came home and had to finally turn on the news, I was pleasantly surprised to see that Kamala Harris and Doug Emhoff were in Glendale visiting the people that have been impacted by the fire. And she was boots on the ground instantly. And the reason why for me that's so important is because what's going on right now is, first of all, I understand that Dump mentioned LA and that he's coming out here on Friday. And now they're trying to recall our mayor as a result of these fires. And the person who ran against her is Rick Caruso, the developer.
Yeah.
And now this is getting ugly because Trump wants to come in and build LA better and has his eyes set on the Olympics. And this recall happening is all so twisted and convoluted that trying to play connect the dots is like the numbers are all over the place. And I'm not able to put the whole big picture together yet, but it's looking really ugly. And I'm really glad that Harris got out there first.
Right.
Because the shit show is going to start on Friday. And God knows what's going to happen then. But so that's my focus is, while the rest of us are concentrating on what he's doing up in Washington, I'm sitting here looking at, okay, he's got his hand on the southern border, which he just locked down yesterday. Now he's coming into LA, and he didn't want to have anything to do with California before. We were a non-existent state to him. And all of a sudden, he's taking this big interest in us?
Something just occurred to me. You just triggered something in my head that I forgot about this. Whether or not Trump becomes president for life, he will be president through 2028.
Yes.
And the summer of 2028 in Los Angeles looks very much like the summer of 1936 in Germany. It looks the same, right?
Yes.
Hitler in the Olympics, 1936, Germany. Trump, Los Angeles, 2028 Olympics. I mean, that's there. That's what he wants. He wants to be up in the dais with his oligarch friends looking over his Olympics. They will be the Trump Olympics. So another thing that he owns.
So this is where my head has gone. And I was very active in the 1984 Olympics. I gave up a year to work with the committee and was extremely instrumental in working with them. And I have now decided I'm probably not going to, depending on how this goes on Friday, because if this man is going to claim, which I think he's going to, credit for these Olympics, I don't personally want to have anything to do with it. Which is a terrible attitude right now, and I got to find a way to change that. Because that's not me. I'm just a person of service. So that really bothers me. So maybe while I'm out there today, working with the firefighters and getting people, food through the World Kitchen, I'll get a better attitude. But in the meantime, it's just one moment at a time trying to get through this thinking of how do we survive this week? So that's wrong.
That's crazy. Thanks, Sue. That really brought up a lot of things that are definitely important. Cindy, how'd you get past yesterday?
Greetings, one and all. I had talked about staying home and not going outside because it was 1 degree out, but I actually ended up going out and spent a little time with my daughter in the outer world, both of us ignoring what was going on. Very pleasant day. And I was just, you were saying how's he going to do that? Well, I just picture apartment buildings with his name on them, and he's going to try and get them to name a stadium after him. I mean, it's going to be horrible. And the fact that he has so many sycophants that are just willing to say yes to anything he proposes, no matter how outrageous, is just, I mean, it's stunning. When Jared Polis was running for governor, he made it a point of, things were in a blind trust. He had nothing to do with his businesses. They were thriving without him, but it wasn't, he wasn't part of it. And the fact that From is just not only breaking all the rules, but throwing it in our faces, and we're letting it happen. I don't, and when I say we, I mean our elected officials are letting this happen. So I just think we have to get really loud and really vocal and pinpoint one thing at a time, because as whoever said earlier, it was a fire hose. Yeah, it's a lot. So we have to pick things, and exposure doesn't do it anymore. It's all been exposed. It's all out there. Everyone knows. It's just changing the consciousness and the acceptance. So anyway, yeah. I'm happy to have this room. I'm happy to have you guys. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Okay.
I just want to say, right. Hi, Cindy. I know you said changing the rules, but what I thought in my head was, changing the laws. Like, you don't break the laws, you change the law, so then you can break the law. It's no longer a broken law if you have the power to change it. I just sort of realized that. I didn't realize the question of the room was, how did you get through yesterday? So come back to me maybe after you've gone through the room, Ben, because I would like to share a little bit more.
Okay. Absolutely. No, there'll be some room to do this. All right, let's see who's up here. I want to go to Rick, and then we've got Dr. James is in town, and let's see, Scott's here, David. Well, David, anyway, we'll get to you. So, Rick, why don't you get us updated?
Yeah, I think his strategy, which works really, really well, is he may have a team of spotters to find out, okay, who can I leverage now? Who can I extract money, or who can I extract support from? I would be willing to bet that he tries to meet with Bill Maher when he's in LA.
Oh, yeah.
Because Bill Maher has been railing against regulation. He's a libertarian, and
yeah, he's easily turned. I think he can go both ways, but I think he can be turned. Yeah.
So I have a feeling he'll probably want to meet with Bill Maher and this guy that's the new Reconstruction czar of LA, or whatever they call him, Soberoff.
Yeah.
And Soberoff was a Richard Riordan appointee. He's a real estate developer.
And I think he also ran for mayor at one point, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah, I thought so.
And he of course called himself non-political independent.
Right.
But he's a real estate developer, and he's like, this is not a time for city planning or regulations. And so that's right in the Trump wheelhouse right there. So there's a guy named James Joyce III. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He has a podcast called Coffee with a Black Guy. He's from Ohio originally, I think Toledo, and he lives in Santa Barbara now, which is one of the whitest places in the world. And he meets with people to give them exposure to something that they haven't been exposed to before. he was the keynote speaker yesterday at the Martin Luther King event here, which was fantastic. It was really a great event and inspiring. And you know, he said something that he's very funny, but he can be really funny and really serious at the same time. And you know, he said, you know, well, you know, where we are, we gotta keep fighting, we gotta keep distracting. He goes, he goes, and I have a flight to my new home in Africa.
He's just casual.
But he said, no, he said, seriously, he goes, it's the noise that's going to kill us. And he goes, we've been through this before. People have been through this before. Black people have been through this before. And ignore the noise, because he's going to be throwing shit at the walls, you know, rapid fire place. It's going to be a Gatling gun of bullshit every day. And he said, all politics is local. He goes, go local. Meet your city council. Meet your school boards. He goes, this in the red states is where the most damage is being done. And it's the training ground for Trumpism. You know, in the churches, there's a pastor, some, you know, right-wing MAGA guy here in Thousand Oaks who completely MAGA. He is so empowered now. And he said, this is where we stop things. He goes, we are not going to stop President Trump, but we can stop his enablers. And we can start uniting the people on our side. Because he's very good at uniting the right. He really is. The left is not good at uniting. The left is good at nitpicking each other. Mm-hmm. And he goes, so stay local. You will be able to meet your city council members. Those city council members have relationships with the county people. The county people have relationships with the state people. The state people have relationships with the federal people. This is how we can get stuff done. And he goes, number one, you got to protect yourselves. He goes, but you can't cower in the corner and just be angry and complain and say the worst is going to happen. He goes, if you do that, you've already lost. He goes, you have to have a plan. You have to do a little bit at a time on the local level, and you have to show by example what works and what people really want. And it was really an inspiring talk. And, you know, there's nothing I can do to affect Donald Trump directly, nothing. But I can affect the people who will either look the other way and ignore him, or kind of say, you know, it ain't so bad. We can affect those people, but we have to do it on a local level, because the local level people, they need us. They need us as local people, because the margins are so small and you can actually get to them and talk to them. So go to their offices, go to the school board meetings. Some of them are most of them, frankly, are boring as hell. It takes time out of your day. But if we really do believe that there is a threat, we got two choices. We can either get to work or we can get violent. And I'm not for getting violent. And so it really is. We just have to ignore the noise that is Donald Trump
He goes, because it's going to be thrown at us at such a rapid pace and so often, and amplified by the media, and more so amplified by social media. Yesterday was the first time I've ever gotten a post on Instagram and Facebook from Mark Zuckerberg. I've been on that platform, 15 years, however long it's been around. I've never gotten a post on my feed from him. Yesterday was the first time, and it was him dressed up in a nice tuxedo.
No hoodie.
In an expensive hotel room.
Yeah.
And it's it really is. We can forget about what Twitter and all that is. We know what these algorithms do. They feed us whatever they want to feed us. And avoiding the news, if you're on social media, you can't do it. So, social media is basically a summary of headlines. And the headlines are often the worst part of the story because sometimes they don't even have anything to do with the story. It's all about titillation, sensationalism, getting a reaction. We have to react less and we have to plan more. And that's it.
Thanks, Rick. Appreciate it. All right, just a couple of quick housekeeping things. There is some room at, what time is it? We're at 4:21, so there's still some time if you do want to come up. We did keep the hand raising off, so if you're one of the regulars and you want to come up, put your hand up. I want a couple of shout outs. I want to shout out to our good friend, Michael Schmidt, who has a club anniversary today, I see. Happy club anniversary, Michael. Yay. And also to a new friend that I've met a few months ago, Dr. Goddess, who is from my hometown of Pittsburgh. I want to do a shout out to Dr. Goddess, and I hope she starts hanging out because she's good people. And let's see, what else do we have going on here? All right, I want to get back to the room. Who do we have who we haven't heard from? We haven't heard from Kyle, so let's do Kyle, and then Dr. James, and then David, and then we'll figure out where we go from there. So Kyle, go ahead. You're on. Kyle, anybody home?
Yep, just busy moving my legs.
You want me to come back
a little bit of time? Yes.
All right. Then let's go to Dr. James. Are you up and ready? Did you already walk your dog?
You know what? I can't speak today, but I'm here and I'm listening. I'm really multitasking, way too heavy on the IRL side of things right now.
Okay, no problem. Thanks for the heads up. The Right Reverend Scott, you're up.
Good morning,
everybody.
everybody.
How cold is it in Philadelphia?
It's, right now, the current temperature in the city of brotherly love is a balmy 15 degrees. It should get up to 19, which would be fantastic. I might walk to Rittenhouse Square to see if the kids are pulling out the hacky sack. I mean, 19 degrees is downright.
Well, 19 degrees in Rochester when I used to be there was actually considered pretty warm. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's it's a balmy day here in Philly. It's a golden age. We're in the golden age. Trump said so. That we're in a new golden age. And look, man, Manifest Destiny is back, and we're going to Mars. We're putting the flag on Mars. Yeah, and we're skipping the rest of the globe and just going right to Mars. Bypass Greenland. Just go directly to Mars. Do not pass go.
That's right.
Do not collect $200.
And we're going to play on Trump Intergalactic. That's going to be the
exactly. I just saw an Instagram video where he was dancing to YMCA with a sword, and cutting the cake. And it was very. That's the funniest thing. It's like the gayest song, and it's so interesting that he loves it. I mean, the ironies are just so. It would be funnier if it didn't have the tinge of the tragic. But I did a Martin Luther King podcast yesterday with Dean Trelier, who's Harold Dean Trelier, who's on the faculty at Howard Divinity School, and he was the dean there. He's been the dean a few other places, which is so funny because his name is Dean Trelier. It's like in the movie Old School, Back to School, Dean Martin. When Rodney Dangerfield talks to the dean, played by Warren Beatty, and the dean is named Dean Martin. It's great. But Dean brought something up I'd never thought of. He said, I said, how are you feeling? MLK Day in Trump's America. And he said, I don't think God causes these evil things. But he brought up Adolf Hitler. And he said, without Adolf Hitler, we probably wouldn't have Dr. King. I said, what do you mean? He said, Morehouse, because of World War II and the draft, conscription, that so many schools didn't have students, and Morehouse was one of them. And the president at the time just threw open the doors and was being incredibly generous with the admission standards. And he said Martin Luther King was, at that time, he was a pretty ambitious young kid, but was not a strong student, was not the student he became, but wanted to go to Morehouse and maybe would have not gotten in without the war. And he went on to become, of course, a strong student and become the great civil rights leader, of the 20th century. And so he talked about these, the hope amidst tragedy. He talked a lot about King's, what we forget about King. King's legacy, and just some of the radical nature of King that we smooth off of King, right? Because he's become part of the secular pantheon of saints. So we make him more palatable, and just some of the radical stuff he said about militarism and inequality and income inequality. And it's this great quote that Belafonte said that King relayed to him at the end of his life, right before he was killed. He said that my fear is that we're integrating into a burning house. That the immorality, because of the militarism and the income inequality, would just break America. And it's very interesting. So that was a great conversation, and it was good for my soul. It was very, very encouraging, and I learned a lot too, which is always a plus. And now another day, yet another day in Trump's new America. I'm on the dating apps. We'll see if the MAGA women are coming out, and we'll see. I think I'm going to put on my dating profile that I'm learning the dance steps to YMCA and see what kind of hits I get. Maybe I won't get hits from the gals, but from the guys.
From the guys, exactly.
Who knows? But it's great to be here, and it was always my compatriots. Keep the faith, keep the fight.
Well, thank you, Reverend Scott, and stay warm there.
By the way, Jane graciously put the link to the podcast in the chat. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
All right.
Scott.
Yeah, let's go to Jane. I know you wanted to hop up. Go ahead, and then we're going to go to Peruse. Go ahead, Jane.
Oh, Peruse, trust me, this is 1 second. Scott, at some point before the room ends, please tell us if Bill Maher is not a libertarian, what is he, and why did you write that? Okay.
I'll just stop. Yeah, he's not. He has extolled the virtues of socialism many times in his show over the past few years. He said, when the right has said, "Oh, we can't have socialism," he'll be like, "What do you call Social Security? What do you call Medicare?" He'll extol stuff.
Right.
He has been a pro-government guy. No, the Bill Maher from the 90s.
Let's go to Pirasan. I'm sorry I asked.
Yeah, might have had
I apologize.
Yeah. I don't think Bill Maher is a libertarian. Now, will he capitulate to Trump? I don't think so, but who knows? A lot of people are kissing the ring right now.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. All right, thanks, Reverend Scott. Go ahead, Prison. Why don't you tell us more about? I was listening to an interview with an American historian who was being interviewed by somebody from DW, which is a German media company, and it was really interesting. And they were discussing how Elon Musk's influence, attempted influence on the election in Germany. So maybe you can get us up to speed with that. Go ahead, Prison.
Yes, my dear Ben. Hello everybody on the stage and also in the audience. I don't want to mention all the names, but feel yourself all hugged from my side. From an evening in Germany, it's a cold evening. We had the inauguration. We have watched all of the politics for. And of course on the TV, and we were following the events, and of course the body language of Mr. Trump. Interesting for me to have a look by myself. Sometimes the translations were, and thanks to this room. Hello, mommy, love you. And thanks to this room, my English is getting better from day to day, so I can really understand the slang of the New York businessman.
It's on the curve. At some point, if you listen to us, your English will probably get worse. But you gotta go ahead.
Okay, pardon me. Is the connection okay?
Yeah, it's good. You're good.
Okay. So,
excuse me, Persian. Sue, can you mute, or Ben, can you mute Sue?
Yeah.
Yes. Of course, first of all, I have to mention that I'm a kind of a conservative and scary guy. Believe me, I survived the repression of the Iranian regime, so I have a deep instinct in my soul to take care about what I'm talking. And I'm all the way, by the way, I think a polite guy, as you can witness, and I don't want to hurt any feeling that might be, So and especially because I'm a social democrat and we are going to the election, I want to be very polite and diplomatically. So sometimes when you are saying stuff on the stage, or you're talking about wishes, about which I'm a little bit then scared to take part of, So believe me, if you as an American go to Iranian rooms and you're sitting there with your American name, and then there are so hot topics about dying some person or whatsoever, you would get hard time from the Iranians on that, So
I'm sure.
So and that's why I have to, I have to see the other side. I have to also behave myself as I think that it shall be. So saying that, and what was very what gives me reason to think is this in his speeches about saving, he had been saved from God Almighty to do something very huge. So, and this talking about it very unshy way. So next time we will organize it again into the Congress building. So next time. Also
let me ask real quick, has there been anything in German media about Elon Musk doing the Hitler salute? Was there anything that was...
It's like a bomb in German.
Yeah.
Like a bomb. Because
but did they mention
the Roman greetings.
Yeah.
Believe me, German knows how to greet Roman greetings, and this is especially the thing that is forbidden in Germany. And the American military government, right after the surrender of the Nazi regime, also brought this rule to not use this salute in German on the street or wherever it is. You can go to jail for 3 years.
Wow.
And with the speed, unbelievable speed, things are getting usual. What we couldn't say years ago, some 2 years ago or some months ago, we talk about it very, very often or very careless, and so the acts. Other point what I want to share with you, and then I will going to listen to your points. Elon Musk is supporting far-right parties all around Europe now, as we understand. In England, he made the same, and he's somehow encouraging the far-right in Europe. But we have to mention that far-right parties have usually support of Russia. They enjoy the support of Russia. For example, Front National, they had their bank and their reserves in Russia. So the ties between the AfD and Russia are very, very deep. And so a U-turn like this and we see also withdrawing from the World Health Organization, withdrawing from the treaties of the environmental on the environmental and green issues treaties with the European Union. So we will see. For the first day, we witness enough, and what else will come, you will decide, and you will take part. We in Europe, we are going to watch what the American voters and knew for a better vote, hopefully. So with that saying, yes, Jane.
I know.
Let's pray to God. Let's pray to God.
Thank you.
Thanks, Perusian. Thanks so much. We really appreciate the
It is
update.
critical
Okay.
to listen to Perusian. I'm going to jump in here for a second, Ben.
Yeah, go for it, and then we're going to go with David Jacobson.
It was
Go ahead.
so sickening yesterday to hear people trying to deny what we saw with our own eyes the 2 times that he did the Sieg Heil. It was absolutely terrifying. I'm telling you this as somebody who's 2 of my grandparents with numbers tattooed.
With Auschwitz Liberation Day to come in the next days.
Exactly. But here's the thing, you guys. I live in the United States. I am in America, and I am with you guys and with everybody who's in this room right now, in this little ecosystem we have to argue with people about what that was really horrifying to me. I mean, if I have to try to get anybody in this place to understand what that was and to keep looking at that image and tell me that that wasn't what I know it is, then we are really in trouble. We just heard Perusian tell us that if that was here, if that was in his world, in his country, the person would go to jail immediately for at least 3 years. And the new leader of our country and his cronies allowed that. That was part of the message yesterday. We watched it. We saw it. Please, guys, really understand that, you guys have heard me play the song in here, the revolution won't be televised. Well, I'm telling you that yesterday, the beginning of another Holocaust was televised, potential Holocaust. We need to stop this. I mean, I told friends who are right now on the stage with me yesterday that, I remember watching television and going, oh my God, we're going to be safe. It'll never happen again because it can't happen because we're all watching it. And this goes for all the genocides by all peoples. I am being 100% inclusive here and global here. All right. We have to keep our eyes open. We have to say what we see something, say something, and that begins with each other. So I'm going to leave it right there.
Yeah. Thanks, Al. It's the warning. All right, I'm shifting things. Lou is here from, I don't know whether you're in Italy or Rotterdam. We'll find out in a minute. So I want to go to you because we're talking about international stuff and curious about your thoughts about, and I'm sure you saw the thing about Elon Musk doing the Nazi salute, but we should talk about that. And then we're going to go to, as a matter of fact, we've got a whole crew up here, so let's just call this closing comments, pearls of wisdom. So, and we'll start with Lou, and then we're going to go around the horn. And go ahead, Lou.
Hi, guys. First of all, I am in a train, so I hope that I will not lose a connection. If at a certain point you don't hear me, just...
Are you in Italy?
Yes, I am in Italy, and from the next week I will be in the Netherlands. To connect to what Ella was just saying, yeah, it was horrible, obviously. What I have been not really reading, but looking at the title of the news in Italy. And tonight I'm traveling, so I will not catch the news. But what is funny, not funny, but worrying, is that Italian newspaper call it the Roman salute, which is called the Roman salute, when Mussolini was doing it. So the fact that they are calling it like that is the fact that they are minimizing it. Because when we have in Italy this kind of fascist activists that they are marching and destroying and everything, and they walk with the Nazi salute or Roman salute, whatever you want to call it, the arm stretch that I really don't want to see. They tend to minimize it. They call it, no, this is has nothing to do with Hitler. It's the Roman salute. It's very, very bad and very, very dangerous. What I wanted to say about yesterday, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I just catch glimpses of it. I think that Europe has to start fending for itself. We are in a very unpredictable hands now. The only know that we can know about Trump that he's transitional man. So he will do something. Oh, sorry, transaction. Yes, not transition. I hope he's transitional, by the way. But I'm
Really?
It will say yes. So that is the only thing we can expect, but it's very unpredictable. So to make a really analysis what is going to happen now, it's impossible. It's worrying because it's far, far worse than when it was in 2016. 2016, he didn't have the allies that he has now. He didn't know what to say. He chose now the right people. We see right away that he choose and value more somebody that he trusts than that he has political knowledge, so that he's just with him, that he value much more from the people that surrounding himself. So it's exactly what Biden said. It's becoming an oligarchy, an autocracy regime. And the point is that what makes me worry the most is not much that it's America that is becoming that, but that the whole world lean to that now compared to 2016. So we are in very dangerous water. And I am, as a European, and I am worried about what he's going to do and if he has the power to do something about NATO membership. I think it will ask for every member state to pay more. And it's something I think we should do anyhow. I believe the 23 states, European states, already invested much more in defense compared to before, Ukrainian war. Not enough, in my advice, because I'm a predictable guy now, and the other thing I wanted to say is that did you notice that the only European president was Meloni? That is exactly what I've been saying about this woman from day one. Just a second, guys.
Sure. Well, we can get back to you. So, well, this is pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy here. I'm going to have to do an Africa report tomorrow and tell you what's going on here and what I've heard through the grapevine. Anyway, let's go to, where are you? Andrea?
Sorry, guys.
Lou, did you want to finish and then we'll go to Andrea?
Yeah. Sorry. It was the guy who was asking for the ticket because I'm in the train. I was talking about Meloni. So, as you know, it's just exactly what I was expecting was going to happen. And I was seeing that he's getting closer and closer with Elon Musk and Trump and if I remind everybody, Italy has a far-right government. Holland has a far-right government. Soon Germany will have a far-right. This is not good. It's really not good. What Meloni is doing something. She's worried. She's doing things for herself, but for what it concerns Italy, she's trying to keep the commercial agreements that there are with Italy, because Trump has been saying that we will stop the commercial agreement with Europe, or that we will have to pay much higher interest rate, or I don't know what exactly. So I think that she's pushing on that at least for Italy, because she always talks about Europe, but she doesn't care about Europe. She cares about herself, and that's the end of it. So auto stopping, no
All right, thanks.
of doing that.
I know I'm interrupting a lot.
Go ahead.
Sorry, guys. Yes.
Yeah, I know I'm interrupting a lot here today, but I just looked at an article saying that Spain's deputy prime minister is resigning from using X because of Elon Musk's gesture, right?
Oh, good.
And so I looked at it, and it was from Euronews, and that was the article that I wanted to share with the room. And it talks about Spain's deputy prime minister and labor minister Yolanda Diaz said they would remove their accounts. Other countries are starting to remove their accounts, and I tried to share it to the room, and it's Euronews.com, and Facebook will not let me, and Google will not let me, and nobody will let me share this with you.
Interesting. Okay.
This is like I've never seen this happen before. I've been sharing things from this site for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And I'm suddenly.
Can you share it with me, Al?
I'm gonna try, yeah.
Yeah, try to get it out. That would be great. All right, thanks, Al. All right, we're going to go to David Jacobson, and then, Andrea, and then David Jacobson. Andrea, go ahead. Closing comment, Pearls of Wisdom.
Well, I'm not sure if it's going to be closing, but hey, everybody, and wow, yesterday was tough. I tried not to watch, but instead do a 1,000-piece puzzle. Unfortunately, I couldn't get to where I was supposed to be this week, down with another flu, but better today. But not feeling well didn't make seeing any part of it any better, and just in solidarity to everyone who saw the same thing in the Elon Musk salute. Killed to the bone is all I can say. I'm interested to see how they try to walk that back. Trump took us out of the Paris Accords, the World Health Organization. It's like, all predictable, everything he said he would do. Threatening war on Panama and almost essentially, and going after Greenland. It looks like hemispheric hegemony is what he's looking for. But I think this is a time to for sure stay alert. I see the Democrats divided in a camp of how to get along and do business, and kind of resist as much as possible. And I think that is a divide that the party should not fall on, or it more than ever before. We need to be united, and even with people outside of the Democratic Party. And I'll bring it to a close in a minute. I did see, interesting to see right now in Davos, some of the world's. 1 second, sorry, thank you. Okay, I'm here. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm here, no problem. Sorry about that. As I was watching the breakdown of this, people reacting real time just after the inauguration at the World Economic Forum in Davos, it was interesting to see no one really coming out with a very strong voice about how this is a potential new world order unfolding in front of our eyes, right? And very strongly so. I think in the end, Ian Bremmer came out and said, I felt like people weren't wanting to say things to, upset the new administration, because these are professionals and people just, kind of want to move forward. Even my former dean and professor, Graham Allison, who's been around since he watched the Bay of Pigs unfold to Cuba, he was talking about how what's exciting about this time is that it is creating a new world order and everything. And I was sitting there scratching my head. Nothing about the salute came up on the stage, and they did talk about the rise of the, like in any other world or any other country, we would be calling this a kleptocracy by now. But because it's the United States that wields this incredible military and economic power, we're not saying that as much out loud. Well, some people are, Kara Swisher, and maybe we've said it in this room, from broligarchy to kleptocracy. But for sure, it was just interesting to hear them on their hot takes, because the main takeaway was that some things we know, but that it's really an unstable era because we're not exactly sure, other than most likely we'll see tariffs and Trump's trying to put a squeeze on China. So they were really looking at it from the geopolitical angle, and really nothing. I want to say this to like the American people. It truly is up to us and the people in the country to stay engaged now in a very similar way to when they had underground railroads and everything, I think, because keeping eyes on reality of what is going to go down. The cities have been listed for the deportations. Stronger need than ever before to hold on to your community and your loved one tight, and find trusted sources of information, and know what you can do in these moments. And you can still reach out and tell them not to confirm these people. At a minimum, you can take a small action and contact Congress and write an op-ed. We can still do that. We are not powerless. And so I'll end on that.
Good. Thanks, Andrea. Thanks for the catch up. All right, we've got 10 minutes, so let's do this. Let's hit a couple of we haven't really heard from David. So let's go David, and then Francine. Dr. James, Sue,
not available.
Do you have? Huh?
Not available today for me.
You are available?
No,
I'll be available.
Okay. All right. So I'll get to everybody. Rick, stick around because you can be the caboose, and then we'll be doing this again tomorrow.
Kyle has a hand up.
Yeah. No, that's why I said Sue and Cindy. If you have a closing comment, put your hand up. Come on in. Go ahead, Sue.
Pass.
Closing comment. Ooh, Sue, are you there?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you all. I have no closing comments. I'm going to pass to the next person.
Okay, thanks, Sue. Okay, let's go to, I forget what I said. I think David Jacobson. Go ahead, David.
Sure. I don't have anything groundbreaking. Austin's got snow.
Well, that doesn't happen that often, does it?
It's a new world, a new world order. Yeah. So yeah, it's not unheard of. Anyway, it started with and it accumulated. I wouldn't call it. You can't make a snowball out of it, so it's not real snow. I grew up in Colorado, so we'll call it snow because it's white on the ground. And school's canceled today. They're still up in the air about canceling tomorrow. Wind chill of 13 degrees, so it's 3 degrees warmer of a wind chill than New York City right now. Anyway, let's see. I put a link in the chat for Jon Stewart on The Daily Show covering the Hitler salute and the rest of inauguration. I think he did a pretty good job. I don't really have that much in terms of wisdom to provide, other than we should stand up for the former normal in values, that even if the noise is trying to drown us out, we know what the difference between right and wrong, and rewriting history to say that slaves learned good lessons, and that this is just a Roman salute, where that's all normalization, and it's going to take us down a darker path. So let's kind of keep our torches on and keep the path lit for empathy.
Yeah. We got to keep it going. We got to be aware.
Torches, not tiki torches.
That's true. Scotty, you know what? You got a closing comment, pearls of wisdom?
No, I was just going to add to that super quickly. It's just very telling and also shocking, the amount of people who spend their time and efforts to deny other people what they are seeing and what they are feeling about. This is in regards to, let's say, the Nazi salute, but also in regards to other things. And so people, particularly on this app, will spend their time when they really have the option to just shut the fuck up and say, okay, like, fine, this is what you feel, instead of combating them at every turn about what they're feeling, what they're saying, and what they're thinking, and what they're concluding. And that's the part that's really frustrating, because these people do it like clockwork for every fucking thing. And the fact that they're doing it for a Hitler salute, which some of us are very, very, very fucking sensitive to that, because our family has lived experience with that, is very telling of the character of those people. And blaming it to like Asperger's or some fucking shit is a right-wing bullshit talking point cover-up. So just remember the people who are doing it here on this app, here on social media, and remember them, because they will do it for the next thing as well. I'm done.
Not to mention the vigor with which it was done, with the defiant look on the face. There was nothing accidental about.
Yeah, you're absolutely
and
right.
if there
Thanks
was
for
and
that.
you're unsure about it, as somebody is questioning, maybe it's a time to just shut the fuck up, instead of taking the default measure of being against the person who was feeling that.
Exactly. All right, it's 5 minutes to. We're closing up. We have Andrew back up on the stage. Andrew, did you have a closing comment or pearls of wisdom?
Yes, thanks, Ben. Yeah, I agree 100% with what Scotty just said, for sure. You got to call it is what it is. Let's be real. Yeah, I have a sinking feeling here today after yesterday, and so I'm getting a guy to come in and look at my sink and repair it. Because my sink is on the fritz.
There you go. I like it.
Anyway, everybody have a good day today.
We do need a little levity. Thank you for that, Andrew. Okay. All right, Cindy, closing comment, pearls of wisdom, and then we're going to go to Francine, and then I guess we'll go to Rick. We'll call it a day. We'll get to you also. Whoever has the last minute, go ahead. But Cindy right now, and then Francine.
I just want to say to everyone that I'm going to be limiting my Facebook and Instagram exposure. Eric Stoltz posted yesterday that he's signing off for a week, and I thought, well, that's a great idea. So I was trying to sign off of my accounts. I still haven't figured out how to do it without just deleting everything. So, but I'm going to make an effort. Thank you all. Have a great.
Thanks, Cindy. Appreciate it. Okay, well, Francine, and then Lou, and then Kyle, if you got a real quick one, we'll go to you as well. But go ahead, Francine.
Okay, I just want to say that I have never seen anything like this. I mean, I'm 83, almost 84. I have never seen anything like this. It is completely shocking to me. And of course, I'm also in mourning for my dog. And so I'm just wiped out.
Oh, God.
And I'm not going to participate in social media for a while.
But you'll be here?
Oh, yeah.
Does that mean us?
I have to have friends. Where am I without friends?
Okay. Thanks, Dr. Francine, because we need you too. But we really appreciate it, and we know what you're going through with your wonderful companion dog. I can't even imagine if one of my cats passed away. It would be horrible. All right, Lou, real quick, and then Kyle, if you have a quick one, and then we're gonna do the caboose. So where's Rick?
First of all,
go ahead, Lou.
Well, I have to say sorry, Dr. Francine. It's devastating, and being an animal lover more than a people lover, and I say proudly, I can only imagine how you're feeling, and so my love goes to you. What I wanted to say was like a funny bitter note. It was about those two idiots, Trump and Elon Musk, dancing on YMCA. I mean, after passing a law about there are only two genders, do these guys know about the song, what it stands for? That's the first thing I thought. That's, it was just, I had to laugh because I couldn't do anything else than laughing, But anyhow, so a bit of love. That's it.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. All right, let's do, who did we miss? Oh yeah, Kyle, did you have a quick closing comment, pearls of wisdom?
Yeah, absolutely. I provided an article from the Atlanticist, or the Atlantist, or the Atlantic Council, the Atlantic Council, the New Atlanticist. This is a really well-renowned think tank, and they're definitely not right or left-wing. And it says the U.S. is right to be concerned about China's influence over the Panama Canal. I hope people look at that and get grounded in reality. I think people are too alone these days, and too much loneliness and individualism makes one think that their opinions matter more than their connection with other people and what is actually happening. So I definitely do not approve of Donald Trump, but it means that when we're looking at these things, to not get caught up in the hype. And also just look at how much loneliness is actually impacting the American way of being, is probably impacting people's relationships with one another as well. And it seems to be getting very dysfunctional. That's unhealthy. People interacting with AI for a girlfriend, that's very unhealthy. So maybe just focus on community and building connections, and this is the same thing with the local politics sort of thing. Don't be alone on your phones bitching about politics. Maybe go out and have some fun and harmony with others.
Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate it. All right, well, we're gonna go to Rick, but just last minute, Elle, did you have any closing comment? And then we're gonna go to Rick.
Oh, I don't know, Ben. I got a notice from the ADL yesterday in response to the Nazi salute, which is what it was. And to see them denying it was really terrible for me. It was really horrifying to see the Jewish institutions who are acting out of fear, xenophobia, the whole thing. I get it. I've been my people for 70 years, and I still love being Jewish, to see them being so terrified is a signal to me that we keep talking about different groups who are getting scared and who are kissing the ring, and to see that happen, and then listen to Perusian halfway across the world who's saying, look at it with your eyes open, acknowledge what it is, name it, name it, name it, name it. That's what we do. I am trying to stay out of powerlessness. That's really important for all of us, I think, is to not get paralyzed by fear right now. It's interesting. I've been saying, you guys have heard me say it before, that action is the antidote to despair. And I only realized last night that quote is actually by Joan Baez. I didn't know that that's who had said it. So I guess isn't that interesting with the timing of The Complete Unknown, Bob Dylan? Yeah. We somehow need to stay out of fear. We need to know who we trust. One of the most important things in the world. That's what we teach our children, who they can trust. We need to know who to trust. We need to know who our friends and who our family are, our chosen family, like people on this app for me. And really, I'm hoping that this platform will be a place where I feel safe. And I mean that very seriously. When I sit here and I hesitate about what I'm comfortable saying right now in this room, because of all of these forces, that's not good. That makes me sad. That makes me scared. And I want this to be a safe place for all of us. And I include people who I absolutely disagree with some of their politics, and in some cases, absolutely voted for Trump. I'm not talking about that right now. I'm talking about going forward. It's really important that we create safety. That's where I'm going to leave that.
And I want to respond to Elle very quickly and throw out there something for the room to mull over, not now, but as kind of a thoughtful provocation before Rick wraps up. I've listened to everything that we've talked about in this room, and I am going to point out that do we need to explore further some of the main investors in this app? We are creating this space on an app invested in.
Yeah,
by
Mark Andreessen is a big problem.
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
He
I'm
is.
just pointing out that he is part of this group that is looking at, tech. And so how is our data being used, and how are our voices being used, and how is this community being used? And then my question goes, okay, and then, well, then how safe? I think we're safe in the relationships with the people we know here. And I guess, I'm just throwing the question out there. I feel like to have that, if we're really talking about all this stuff, I think people need to think about that as well. Maybe it's an interesting.
Can you clarify by any chance, like the specifics?
Well, look.
For another room. That's why I hesitated.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, here's the problem: is that if we sit down and start looking at, what platform it doesn't have some connection to some nefarious techno boy, because they're all invested in each other's things. Now, will that mean that they'll be targeted through here, or that Mark Andreessen has any influence? I don't think so. I think at some point you have to sort of take faith that we have to have some place where we can. I'd be more concerned about who's in the room rather than this amorphous who influences the room. But hey, look, as I've always said on stage, I try to keep it. As a matter of fact, the rule is that everybody on stage has a similar worldview. That we're not a room where we have conversations between two sides. We are all on one side. We're not all the same, but we're all on one side. We're all pro-democracy, and we're all pro-environment, and there are things that connect us all. And we need to have a room where we do feel safe that you're talking to fellow people. And, if that's breached in the audience, tell me and we'll fix it. But, I think it's more and more important because there are so few rooms where I feel that way outside of here. So I think it's an important distinction, Andrea. Thanks for pointing that out.
Well, also, Ben, I would just note that we are here in a room called Deep State.
Yeah.
Patriots. And, if I said to you, and you're very far away, you're very protected where you
I do have a buffer.
You have a big buffer. You've got, people with guns protecting you. When I ask, Andrea, I really, really appreciate you saying that out loud because it's a question for me. My kids are like, get off of that room. Don't go in that room called Deep State Patriots. They're actually scared. And I'm saying to myself, well, right now, today, after yesterday, and maybe before yesterday, if there was a rally that I could go to right now that was a deep state patriot rally in this country right now, how many of you would go? I wouldn't go. I wouldn't feel safe. And yet I'm on here being recorded day after day, and I'm being recorded right now. Yeah, it is really sad, Parisian. I agree with you. And I understand what you said when you first started talking about the care you have to take to protect yourself when you're speaking on this app where every word is being recorded all the time. So, to what degree we are going to have to censor our speech, which is, again, really scary to me. On the big picture, zoom out, right? Zoom out to what's happening here in the sense of history. It's a real question, Andrea. It's one I have.
Well, I think I just want to say that it takes me a very long time and I have to know a lot before I come out and say anything against an individual. I'm not that way. I don't feel comfortable doing that. So I'm not going to say that. But I do think time and time again, the use of our data and our voices and our relationship to our data, whether we own it or not, and all things privacy is an interesting thing to think about, especially given the sensitivity of what you're talking about here and the ways in which we've really used this app in many ways to organize. So I just landed, I landed there. I think it's a longer.
Well, just quickly.
Yeah, no, I think we
could think of it. Bill Clinton, to get his second term, after he won, he ended up putting up focus groups on top of an office building, calling swing voters, constantly asking how they feel. Just think about the capacity of this app for people at the top to gain sentiment analysis from swing voters on the app. It is actually, like, I would imagine that people who are smart would use it both sides of the aisle, but that's just intelligent people will do.
That's true, but then well, we could definitely go down a rabbit hole here, because then you just need to know that, who are you listening to? Are they being genuine? I think I see a lot of groups actually going off platforms like this and being in like encrypted, and having private Zooms where they're having organizing, and it's really through a lot of knowledge and relations that they're getting on there. But, I have thought of this as a public town hall space, where maybe you have to discount a certain percentage of what's said. But anyway, I just think that the more serious groups I know are doing these more closed meetings, but because they want to avoid all the information. They want to be working with people towards the same end and avoid having some of that information getting out there. But I do think that it could be, I've often thought, it's like a public town hall in here, though I have disagreed somewhat with people who have said that the app reflects the reality of the world and real life. I'm not so sure it does, because most people don't have the opportunity or the time to be on here. So I'm not exactly sure that it really is a reflection, but I think it has I do think it has a lot of potential. I've definitely enjoyed using it. I'm just saying, let's be real about what we're talking.
No, look, we have to evaluate what's going on and see how it affects us. And, it's for the name. Look, the name is because I have a URL that I've had for 4 years called Deep State Patriots, which was intended to be a sort of a sarcastic group of flash mobs. That was the original intention. And, so I think that at this point, anybody who calls them Deep State Patriots, they would understand the sort of tongue-in-cheek nature of it. But with that said, we have to keep on top of it, like Elle mentioned. All right, let's go to, we can do this more tomorrow, so let's go to Rick. Rick, you got the caboose. Mr. Sanchez. Ricardo from Oxnard, are you there? Oh. We may have lost our caboose. I don't know if he left or not. So why don't we go to Scotty? Can you be the caboose? Or yeah, go ahead. Oh, Rick's back.
Yeah.
Rick, go ahead.
I don't. My phone was in my pocket, and I was doing pull-ups. And
ooh, how masculine of you.
Yeah. So, a lot of us, including myself, we really take a big look at the extremes, where really almost everything exists in the gray. And, if you think about the word hypocrisy, and then think about how you interpret that word. How does that make you feel, hypocrisy? And if somebody was going to call you a hypocrite, how would it make you feel? Well, I think that it's time that we all start looking at ourselves and find out, how far do we rationalize our own hypocrisy? And we've all got it. You can't deny that we are all hypocrites. Even the best of us are hypocrites. We will rally about a country or a company or a device, but we will still use it. And we will use devices made in that country and allow them to profit from it. Social media is a great example of that. Social media is just an amplification tool. It's a marketing tool. You're marketing a business, you're marketing yourself, you're marketing an idea. The platform you are marketing on could go out of business at any time. So don't become dependent on them. don't become dependent on technology. It's changing all the time. As far as things like, I felt I was a hypocrite by staying on Twitter when Musk bought it. I said, but I know people there. I have people there. I get useful information from there. That's all true. But it's enabling and empowering one of the worst humans on the planet. And we can rationalize it. Well, I'm just one person. What can I do? Well, you're one person. You can take that first step. I'm thinking about doing the same thing with Facebook. And, it's really kind of the platform that I've used for a long time. So I know a lot of people, a lot of those music people are on it. But when I look at my friends list, and then I look at people that I really communicate with, I have their contact information. People that I could depend on, I have their contact information, or I can get it. News, I go to the source. Go to the source for your news. Don't go to an aggregator. Aggregators are convenient, but you really have to narrow down the ones you trust. And, I'm thinking about getting off of Facebook because I can call the people on Facebook that I know. I can write them a thing saying, listen, I'm going to be leaving. This is my contact information. Let's stay in touch. Let's be more human and not depend on a tool to make us whole. And that's all it is. These things are tools. So, we have to ask ourselves two things. Do we want
Uh-oh.
That's kind of where I'm going with this, is it's time for us to really take a look at ourselves as individuals. What are we willing to rationalize for convenience or for entertainment? And, we have to recognize it. And to me, that's being woke, is being aware. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with being aware. And don't let anybody tell you there is.
Yep. You're at a good point, Rick. I mean, we need to regain the language. There is, woke is actually good. Woke is us. Woke is being culturally aware and racially sensitive. That's what it means. If you're anti-woke, you're anti-race. You're racist. The definition of anti-woke is racist, because all woke means is being culturally sensitive. So if you're against being culturally sensitive, you're a racist, and we should re-own that. It's such bullshit. I hate that when I hear that, as you all know. Andrea, do you want to say something before we close?
I think this is for a larger conversation later. I'm just saying that the other flip side of what I brought up, because I just felt like I had to say it, was that also then you can't, when you abandon, given the influence of these platforms, then if this voice or this viewpoint is not heard and not out there and not available, whether or not we attract people across the spectrum, it's also important to maybe not cede the space. I feel like someone, like Crazy Aaron, who keeps going into all these rooms, or I feel like the point is that when you disengage, that's also potentially dangerous. Like, I still haven't left X. I don't really tweet anymore, or whatever it's called now, but I'm still there. I'm also on Blue Sky, and I would rather kind of build a following there and have my peeps from here. I'm just saying it's also important for the alternative viewpoint to be available and on these platforms as well, given the disproportionate impact of far right media versus what there exists for the other side. And that I come down on the fact that I do like fact-based stuff. I don't like the propaganda. I mean, I do think the middle of the road reporting from The Economist is something we desperately need and need more of. But there is an imbalance in the media and the social media presence and platforms, and a desperate need to invest more in them.
Good point. Yeah, and it is. We need to talk more about it because it's crazy. Anyway, we made it through day number 2 of the dictatorship. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same station. We love you guys, everybody down below. Anybody who is new, like Dr. Goddess down below, we welcome you to come back and join the community and to turn that ticket into. Don't be afraid to become a member of the deep state. They think you are anyway, so you might as well do it officially. Anyway, with that, we're going to do the closing song, and then we'll see you tomorrow. Oops, where is it?
I'm 6'10", Zamora, you 5'2". They're looking for people to pick. How likely is it that they will pick me, even though you're like the basketball captain of your team?
Я никого же не обижаю силами. Нет, мне по ВЦ просто дозу поксил, мне вообще похуй на всех вас, кроме Илоны. Ах ты ж грязный пидор. Раз, сильно.
Сколько он скажет, что Илона такая, не такая? Ну, давайте, я прям ставлю 2 недели. А, никакие 2 недели, 2 дня, нахуй.
Я никогда в жизни про Илону ничего плохого не говорил и не буду говорить.
Закончатся таблетки, посмотрим.
Нет.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree with Otis. I don't like the oversimplification. Like the second way that Articulate came around and he started breaking it down, I understand that point better than just saying we're the Jews of America. Like, anyways, to Sherry and to everyone, I hear you. I understand the need for civility, to be able to have conversations, to truly get at what people really mean and what their intentions are. But I think that for a lot of you, you are way too polite. It gets to a certain point where you're talking to people and they're showing their hand. And for Black people to always have excuses, to always find ways to not see what is really happening when talking about white supremacists, I don't know what else we're supposed to fucking call it. These people are coons. We hear it over and over again. They always find ways to kind of like undercut, what should be the Black political position, and they always find ways to defend the white position. So I don't know how many more conversations are we supposed to have where we just pretend like we don't see someone playing dumb and we just have to sit there and talk to them like they're fucking children and try to make the dots connect for them when the dots really aren't connecting. But I think we got to stop that. Like, enough is enough. That's all I got.
Oh, it's not about civility. It's about, when did I say the CEO was right? I never said that. I mean, people who show you who they are all the time. Just let him talk long enough, and then, and when before he left, I pointed out, because I'm not arguing with him, that I was right, and he has a difficult time saying that he is wrong. And where is he now? Because he's not even in the room.